What is it? Are you pushing? Are you bringing sales? Are you bringing revenue? Are you developing business? That's why you find a lot of people who, who are paid the most are people who bring value, like your sales guys. I mean, they go and get businesses.
I know one course that really was impactful for my career was not even a formal 4-year university degree. It was like, yes, they were at institutions like Wits and UCT, but it were short courses, right?
You see, I think it will be important for someone to watch all the previous episodes that we have done.
Understand.
I feel like you can't just come from nowhere. That's one of the things that I'm saying.
And understand what I'm about to say.
Hello everyone, welcome again to another episode of Uncut with Tate. I'm glad that you guys managed to join us, and today I've got my beautiful matching co-host, Pals. Thank you for coming through, and as usual, I've got my crew behind the crew. Thank you guys for coming through. So today we're going to be talking about something that I think is important, the issue of value and upskilling into the marketplace. How do we position ourselves? What is it that we can do, to really further our careers? And I think it's important that we know that in any business, I think they are really, really trying to bring profit. They want
That's
to
why
do
they're
well.
in business.
They want to grow. I mean, they want to grow. They want to be listed on the JSE, on the New York Stock Exchange. I mean, they want to do a lot. And I think it's important that you must always know what is it the business is looking for. At the end of the day, they want to make profit. They want to make money. And I think it's important that, for you to, be someone who is counted as someone they can rely on, man, you have to bring value. You have to bring value. Value is very important, We might be asking, what is value? This is what we call, your substance. What is it that things that you can bring into the company's, environment that brings profit, that betters the company.
That pushes it towards its goal.
You're moving the needle. What is it? Are you pushing? Are you bringing sales? Are you bringing revenue? Are you developing business? That's why you find a lot of people who, who are paid the most are people who bring value, like your sales guys. I mean, they go and get businesses. They get big corporate or government clients. It's because people really pay you for what you bring to the table, because that's what work is all about. So that's why it's important that you must know that in this space of the employment law, I need to bring value. I really need to make sure that my boss is seeing the value. Because I mean, when
I like that. So not just bring value, make sure it's seen.
Your boss sees it.
It must be visible.
So
because one of the things that I've noted is when people are, when the company is going through tough times, when they do retrenchment, Section 189, the last people to be affected, there were people who were bringing value. I remember you were in an organization where they were doing. The group was doing a lot of 189s, and your business unit because it was bringing value.
The most value.
So it's also important which business unit you fall under and what you are doing in that space. So I think it's key for one to literally position themselves in a place of value, and you can literally grow. You might be in a space where you feel like I'm not bringing value, but that's why upskilling is the key.
To help you bring that value.
It was one of those things because they also want to see, because leaders are always learning, and if you're not learning, they feel like you're not growing. So that's why it's important, the issue of upskilling, because guys, I mean, if you were to think about someone who did business studies, I mean, I don't even see jobs anymore that talk about we are looking for someone who did business studies.
They are
something's been
just little.
And they make it sound like such a big deal in school and all, like business studies will really set you
there are
up.
certain degrees that I feel like they are not relevant in our days. So I think you literally have to position yourself in a space that you're constantly upskilling, or even maybe you are saying business studies is still there, but when was the last time you saw typewriters? We were looking for typewriters.
Like, is it relevant or not? I think, I get what you mean. I think whatever degree you do, the important thing is not to stay there, but consistently upskill yourself. So you might do something and realize at the end that it's not relevant and it's not pushing you forward, but the important thing is to keep upskilling yourself, like Tate is saying.
Especially in the fourth industrial revolution, things are moving at a very fast pace.
It's hard to even keep up.
We don't have an excuse.
With AI, you don't have, because AI is taking over, and I think it's important, because one of the things that now I just feel that most of the Section 189s are not going to happen because of the lack of money, but it's going to be the introduction of technology.
It just will
have you been experiencing those?
They are. I mean, Standard
that's
Bank
actually very interesting, because we've always known Section 189s to be because of fine budgets.
No, because sometimes they're more effective. Because
that's interesting.
I was at the Zara store and I saw, when I was buying something at Zara, I saw that they don't have tellers anymore. They literally, you just go there. I think the Zara in Santon. You just go there.
Unique as well.
You put in your stuff, and then it just tells you the amount, and then you swipe your card, and you're out.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Oh my
so
gosh.
I mean,
I've seen that as well at Unique.
You see that technology is quickly moving at a very fast pace. You remember when we were in the UK, how in the UK there are no tellers. You literally
did our groceries.
You just do your groceries. You scan, and then they're gone. So it's important when you, because that's the reality of it. Unfortunately, people want to maximize profits. So upskilling, it's very important. You don't find yourself in a position that you can be replaceable. Overnight. You have to be doing the things that technology. If AI is moving, move with it. Try by all means, to really be relevant. Don't stick with the past, because time is moving. So I feel like it's very important as we get to develop, because that's one of the things. Businesses are looking to maximize profits the best way they can. So.
And what's your take on informal education?
I love it. I love that question.
I did mention, we're in a time now where I don't necessarily have to go sit for a 4-year degree in order to be upskilled in a specific. Do you find that organizations take them as seriously? Some of these, for example, I know a guy, a very, very good friend of mine. He was attempting to do quite a couple of degrees. So he moved from one, he did the other. And when he was like, actually, this is quite frustrating, because, the sourcing of a bursary, these things are quite expensive and they're timely. And he took on the Google courses. So Google had quite affordable. I'm talking your $30, and they all tech. I think it's very industry specific. Tech courses. I can't even say the amount of money he makes now. He showed me his offer. I could not believe my eyes.
It's different for different industries and different roles. For tech spaces, like you say, it's probably in a tech space, so that makes sense. I think tech spaces have made it very. I know one course that really was impactful for my career was not even a formal 4-year university degree. It was like, yes, they were at institutions like WITS and UCT, but it were short courses, right? But also because at the time I was in a data space, it makes sense. But then you get spaces that are very, like, for example, like a law thing, you can't just say I'm going to get in by doing a couple of short courses. I'm going to get into a field without an LLB or medicine. So it's very field specific, very, So it depends. You just need to know which field you're playing in, what's required, in that specific field. So
But definitely, I agree with you. The short courses, I mean, what they just need is they want you to perform the role.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't say, because I didn't find money to go to school, to this specific school to get a qualification. I mean, there are many sites, your Udemy's, you can learn. Because what they want you to do is you have to show that you're a thought leader, you know the things that you're talking about, and you can apply.
Yeah.
Many a times, and I mean, I don't
think
know.
even the long courses, like not the long courses, the formal, what you'd call like your formal. I mean, there are roles, especially as you move into executive roles and whatnot, that will require you, like even the description that they put out there when advertising for the role, they'll ask you about an MBA, for example.
Yeah.
And it's sad to say, I think it's a sad thing because there are people who know their stuff, but unfortunately it's there, it's a requirement, you see, and when you don't have it, you get to lose out. But it's a sad thing because I honestly believe in these short informal courses, informal learning, because informal learning is, like you say, things are changing so fast, and if you go for a formal qualification for 4 years, by the time you finish it, so much has changed. So when you keep up with these informal learning, it's so key and it's so good for you. I think it's a matter of maybe companies also starting to adjust, which I think they will. I think everyone is noticing, so I think as we go they will. So it's very key, even if it's not for getting a role, for yourself, like you're upskilling yourself, you're bettering yourself, you're as an individual. So it's not even just for getting the next job or so it really does, it depends, just know your field, what's required, and what's a thing, and what's
But I do see the disruption. Like, I think even when you look at some of the formerly, those legacy fields that were so stringent on certain things, there does seem to be a very heavy disruption that is coming in. I mean, even you ask yourself, what does the future of medicine look like when now robots are performing surgeries and they will do it better than humans? So if you are going to be a practicing doctor, what does the future of medicine look like?
You have to move with the times.
You have to, but you also have to be I don't know how to say it, guys. It's not that I'm disagreeing with you guys. You have to move with the times, but you also have to know where you are. It takes years for these things to be. Probably by the time you retire or something, that's when it's coming in. So for now, what you need is that medicine degree.
No, for now, I think for me, there are things that you can never find alternatives for, like an MBA. If they want an MBA, doesn't matter how much you know, they want that because they they want a certain level and it has to do with a certain exposure. But I think with upskilling, you have to at least, I think you must have a base as a basic professional. Like, for example, if you're going to be in medicine, if you're going to be a doctor, you have to at least have, have a medical degree, right? And then
that's
you
the
can,
base.
then that's the base, and then you can,
upskill from there.
And then you can, because now, like what you're saying, I've seen, like, for example, Doctor Now, the doctor
he must be your favorite doctor,
who's into weight loss and everything. You can tell that some of the operations that he does, they are very complex, they're very high tech, and they use robot kind of assistants. It's because he has upskilled. That's why he knows.
You can't just wake up and
do something.
You're right. You're right. So and it's not even just robots doing surgeries, but it's the progression to it. The tech that doctors use now is very high tech. So I do get what you mean.
You literally have to know even your gynaes and whatever, they are upgrading. So you constantly have to be moving.
That's right.
So that you can move with the times. The better you know the tech, the better for you. Because you are more efficient, you are quicker in terms of what you do, and you are ahead of the curve in terms of everyone. So I think definitely upskilling is important. But there are things things like what you are saying, that you can never. There is no short course for an MBA. You really, if they say they want
there
an
are
MBA,
ways to learn all of that without going formally to school. But how do I prove it? How do I convince the organization?
Guys, if someone is saying they want
people
an MBA,
that don't know me, especially when they see my CV, how do I convince them that I know that?
One of the things that many people don't realize is when businesses are looking at people at a senior level, their profiles of those individuals, they matter to the shareholders, they matter to the clients.
Yes, because
so that credibility, it builds credibility, it builds confidence, and it also builds, it affects the share price of the organization.
That's so true. I remember when I was in consulting, I don't know if you remember, but like, before I'd go to any client, your CV would go ahead of you.
Sure.
So
because they want to know
who's coming, what do they know, what do they have. So those things, matter.
The billable
and the billable rate is different.
Wow.
So
you
it does
can't
matter.
say you can't tell a client to say I have a short course.
Especially,
do you get what I'm saying? No, they are important. I'm just saying if you really want to,
it's industry dependent.
It's very industry dependent. But if your industry, especially I know, especially in the financial service industry, they need qualifications. They're not gonna listen to any other thing because it's very
sensitive.
Law sensitive. It's regularized, so they really need to know this person, are they qualified
to handle
the thing. It's at a very sensitive level.
Tech is a different story.
I've actually heard that, especially in those dealing rooms. So I think by law they can't just hire anybody into the trading dealing room for the big banks.
Even just for like these financial advisors, anything financial sector, you'll hear them even when they call you that I'm working under supervision because they haven't gotten that specific qualification. So they're under supervision of someone who has it. So it's very industry dependent. With tech is also advanced in terms of even these Google courses, these short courses that are offered. They are very high level, and people do believe that you're getting the right training when you're doing those courses. So, and I like how they also, give you formal certifications as well. So it's very, so that's what I'm saying, it's industry dependent. It's very, so how you, but besides it being industry dependent, sometimes when you're upskilling, you need to be doing it for yourself, not just for getting the next job.
So that they can be easier tools that you can work on. So some of them, they are not requirement, but they just make it easier for example, you become, for example, for your presentation, your work. But if you do courses and you've learned and you're starting to make money, you're in a better financial space, I think it's important to just formalize them because it's easy, because you already know the work. That's key. Comes to even when you are negotiating the level of expertise. Because companies, I know, especially even in government, when you get a certain qualification, your bracket actually changes. Because you are showing a certain level of professionalism. So they actually pay you for that. So that's why I think upscaling is very, very important. As you're gonna journey into the corporate world.
And would you guys have specific tips for those in the market on how to package all these things that they know in a way that is sellable? I mean, I'm just asking because this point that you're even raising now is one of the packaging points. That you can know stuff, but the truth of the matter is, if you don't have the bowl and the box, people aren't gonna buy. Because you don't have that formal qualification that brings credibility.
That's the biggest thing. I always laugh about this. There's value and there's perceived value. So they're two different things. So I remember we had this issue in retail, when I was working for one of the biggest retailers, and the issue was that, factually speaking, we were the lowest priced retailer, but perception in the market was a different one.
So
the idea was, it wasn't even trying to lower our prices even more because we were already the lowest. So it was on working on the perception that the market had about us to be aligned to what really is happening. So I think that's the key, even with you as an individual. You might have upskilled and learned and known all of these things, but what's the perceived value that you're bringing, right? And that's why formal qualifications come in handy sometimes because they help you show that value. But you also need to find other ways, unfortunately, if you don't have that formal qualification to show the value you'll be bringing or that you have. So perceived value, the biggest thing is aligning perceived value with the actual value.
I think if you find yourself in those spaces, sometimes you just have to be honest. You say, guys, I know this, but I don't have a formal qualification.
The problem is when they shortlist the CVs. And you don't have the opportunity.
I think what you can write is, remember, I think in your CV, you can talk about your experience.
That's key.
And then you don't mention it as a certificate that you have, but you have experience in this informal experience, just to put it out there. You know? But don't create an impression as if you've got a certificate, because I've seen, especially some of the guys who work in the industries, they say they know how to operate a machine, because some of the times they give each other these machines, these cranes to just as buddies to train each other. And then on their CV they write that.
For them it's like, okay, now I can do this.
And then that thing, because the industry regulations require you to have it on site. That the company then is doing their checks, they see that you don't even have that qualification to now, but you know how to operate the crane.
Yes.
You see, but because you did not disclose to say, guys, I have an informal way of education pertaining to
this
that.
Is how.
And I think it's important. One thing I've noticed, even in anything, when you're starting a relationship, that's the best place of bargaining power when you are starting.
At the very beginning. Easiest place to be honest.
It's easiest place
in
to be
any
honest.
Relationship.
In any relationship. Just put out. Tell everything. But at least you have nothing to lose at that particular time. If they make their decision, they make their decision.
Then you go in with a clean.
So you know that at least you have this big burden off your back, because you don't want to always say, what if they find out? What if one day they request the certificates? What am I going to do? You know, you're always thinking, second guessing everything. When they call for a meeting, there's an urgent meeting, you're already thinking,
oh my
God, what am I going to do? So it's important to, say what you have and what you do not have.
And even there's a way you can say it. You're so right. Even in those intro paragraphs in your CV, you can speak exactly to what they're looking for, how you have it, or how you can contribute to it, and
to your resilience, and you're willing not to be limited by resources. Your hard work, the fact that you didn't have to wait for you to get the money to get the certifications. You can spin it around to say you're not just a busybody. You are willing to just use what you have, to make sure that you get what you're doing. Because at the end of the day, yes, the qualifications matter, but people want to see, do you know how to do the things that if you were to be put, if you were to be tested, especially with technical skills.
But I think the question we need to answer that most people have struggled with, including myself, is how do I show that in a CV? Because without it showing in a CV, I'll never get an opportunity to sit across the person and explain to them.
You won't even make it into the
room.
So you have to say you have that experience. I think you have to put it in a way and say that you have that experience. I think the main thing is they don't doubt. With the cases that I've seen, they don't have a problem to say you have the experience. The only thing that they don't want is to say the qualification. I
have a certificate.
To say I have a certificate.
And then you don't. Yes.
Okay.
But you see, most of the challenges I've seen is those people that we're saying who self-promote. Because if you are so good with that thing, you find even when you start working, they don't even ask because you're so good at it. But most people, they say, for example, they'll say, I did Python. You know, I had a case where someone said, I did Python, I did Microsoft, Power BI, and then you go into the first thing, it's a Python, you are even asking these terms and you don't even know what it is about.
You don't even know.
You see,
so I'm so shocked that person didn't go through a test.
Yeah,
because I know. With this coding thing, we always go through on the spot while they watch you.
So I think it's the way you just package your CV, the way you communicate. You say you have them,
and corporates are really changing. Like they really are. Like I remember even in the past, like when you'd have a gap in your CV, maybe you left a job and you tried to start a business, it would be so hard to come back into corporate and explain that gap. But now corporates are really adjusting. They take that as those entrepreneurial skills, as experience, and it's like, so you become this entrepreneur with the I in corporate, and it's just it works in your favor. So everything you do depends how you spin it and how you present it. So people need to be able to understand what happened, why it happened, and
Speaking of presentation, Tate said something earlier where he said, it's one thing to bring value, it's another thing for the value to be seen, right? So how does one ensure that their value is seen in an organization?
I think it's important to be intentional. That's number one. But I think for it to be seen is through your relationships. It's to be recognized, with your relationships. Because when we are saying it's seen, it has to be recognized. And when you are given an opportunity, do the best that you can in whatever you are given to do. Do it wholeheartedly. In terms of if you're given a presentation, put it out of the park. Just blow it out of the water.
Don't half bake.
Don't just give it so that people can see. So that it can be recognized. You're not gonna tell people, "Oh, guys, see my value," whatever. It's how you perform, how you treat people, especially when many a times these are soft skills that one has to develop. I mean, when others are doing what they are doing, are you rallying them? Are you supporting them? It's not really your presentation. I mean, I don't think you're gonna present something that is going to be amazing that they have never seen from the beginning of time. But it's the way it's amplified based on your character, the goodwill that you have. It's what people say when they are your things. People are willing to rally over them. That's basically it. But when it's their things, do you support? Do you give positive feedback? Do you cheer up? If your colleagues are going through exams, are you supporting them? If they are going through stuff that you have material with, are you supporting them? If they need something from you, are you willing with that? So value is not really about you presenting stuff. Also what you give in to others. How are you supporting them? That's what we call value. One of the things you'll find, one of the influential organizations is human resources, the business partners. One of the things that they are taught to do is to bring value into an organization, right? What do? They are supporting. They're supporting people when they're coming through. They're supporting managers. So it's all, you play that role. So that's how people get to see that value that you bring to others and also you yourself. And it's just an ecosystem, flowing in the ecosystem and aligning yourself to what the company stands for. That's how your value is seen. Because people, not everyone is going to be in your presentation. But you can be in other people's spaces by how you relate with them and how you support them.
So and also like this thing, like you also get this situation in corporate where you get people who really do bring value, but it isn't seen. Not because people don't want to see it, because these hardworking people maybe can't sell it properly. I don't know. Maybe selling it is a wrong term, but I've seen so many people who work hard, but like maybe they're never recognized for that, or that work is never attributed to them, or I don't know if you've seen those people, those individuals, definitely. And it can get discouraging, and they end up not being promoted. And the one that can speak the loudest ends up being promoted because they can sell the value that they never even brought. It was brought by someone else. So it's a way you also.
I think those people have to work on their communication skills. I think if you do something, people must know. But you see, that's why I'm saying you have to develop relationships with people that matter. I mean, if you do work, and are you saying, maybe give me a scenario, are you saying maybe your line manager is not seeing it, or maybe you're working at the back end? Because are those people also, because most people that I've noticed that are like that, they don't have good people skills.
Yes. I was actually about to say that.
Most of them, they do the work. And they do, it's not like they're bad people, but I feel like they don't know how to create rapport.
Yes.
They're like the geeks, you know?
Yes, the nerds.
So it becomes very, so it's not, as much as they do the work, we have said many a times, it's not enough. It's not gonna be enough.
Yeah, from even what Tate was saying, I realized that what he was listing, you know, the people skills, the honoring, the buying into people, supporting people, they almost become your value amplifiers. Because when you're trying to push to say, hey, I did this, that also doesn't land quite well. But these things that he was listing become the things that speak for you and amplify your value.
You know what usually happens when you are like that? I'm not sure if you guys have been in that space, when you have this person who's always cheerleading others, right? The day that person is doing work, it seems as if they've done an amazing job.
For something small sometimes.
Because everyone that you have cheered in before, they owe you.
They want an opportunity to return the favor.
To support. So they're going to come back. And like people, suddenly it just creates an energy around you. Like there's something special. Not knowing that, no, this person is at a good will. But it's not like every time when people present, they present simultaneously. So you might have added value to someone in the parking lot. You help them. You help someone in the canteen. You buy them lunch. Or you do this, you create a relationship with them. But there's going to be an opportunity somewhere, somehow. Let's say maybe there are awards or whatever. You just find everybody cheering for you. You know, and because there's a momentum that has been created by the things that you do. Your boss is there, like the boss thought, was I the only one who thought this person was great? It seems as if everybody in the audience is saying this someone is great. So there's definitely something about this person, because you are getting back that value, you know, by the things that you do. You know? Because I mean, that's what we have been saying, that when you look at it in corporate, you have to be a super genius to do something that is really
that no one has seen before.
Never seen before. I mean, I don't know how you
that chat can't do. I'm joking.
You know, what people have never done before. But that's how you find most people who are then promoted. They just have the goodwill of others. And they were in the right place at the right time with the right people.
Sure.
Speaking of this value thing, what have you guys seen in your different spaces in terms of culturally us as a people? Would you say that as a people, and or as a culture, we you know, there's this term they use in France, and they describe the French, and they call them work shy, because they are in at 10, they are out at 2. You see them tomorrow, they start their 1 hour tea break. Do you find that, you know, we are a culture of people who work hard? What is our relationship with work, and why?
Are we talking as a nation? South Africa?
As a nation, maybe let's start at home. As a nation.
I think
I'm not sure if this is a safe space.
It's to be honest with you, I think there are people who work very hard.
It's very different.
Very hard. They put in the hours. Literally, work is their life. They come in the morning and, you know, they leave like in the morning, I guess. There are people who work crazy hours, and shout out to them. Those are the soldiers.
Shout out.
Keeping the lights.
They're keeping the lights on.
Of this country, but they are not a lot.
Yeah.
That's what I can say. I think the issue is we are in a space where there's this. I think the culture that has been created is there's this enmity between, business and the workforce.
Yeah, which is so sad.
So this enmity, feels like you are using me,
and I'm using you right back.
You are just here for the check.
There's no goodwill.
So that goodwill. So those are the dynamics where there's so much. We are so far apart in terms of trying to work together to build something great, and you find that a lot of people are really, really work shy, because you find that Monday, I was in an organization where the week literally starts on a Tuesday, because Monday people are still relieving from what happened. So most people usually do Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday is another holiday where they are looking forward to Friday. Because Friday, and when it's Friday, people are chilled. Even the dressing, we just dress down. We dress down, and
I've seen an organization that didn't want to be casual on Friday, you needed to wear formal on Friday, and I never got it, but now I get it, what you're saying. I think they did mention something like they just want you to be in the right frame of mind as well, understanding that it's not a holiday. Now I get it.
I don't feel like I need to. There are clothes that you just wear. You don't feel like I need to hold the pants. I don't have to touch the mouse.
I see it now. I was
subconsciously we take it easy today.
I think it's even
the Friday.
It does.
So,
no wonder why.
Especially on a payday one.
Even your critical skills like the police, the army, they can't dress down on a Friday, because sometimes they might just forget that.
But they're part of the civilian.
Yes, they need to catch some thieves or something. Today is my off day. So I think that's the biggest culture, and I think one thing is, the honest truth is, you are paid to do work.
That's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
And the culture that I've noticed that is starting to develop, especially with our young people, they just feel that they need to get more than the paycheck. By doing, other businesses within the business. You are starting, your own stuff, within the business, your own,
not always legal.
Illegal trades. Just to find a gap and an opportunity where you just start your own thing. And I've seen it a lot, because most people are charged for gross dishonesty, for loss of income. Many people into saying.
There's also that thing that I want to talk about, because it's a thing in our generation. I'm like, honestly, guys, I believe in side hustles, but it has become an issue. Where you have your side hustle, and it's really your working hours at work are shared with your side hustle.
So those are the things, and I think that's going to really affect the issue of working from home. Because I think it's going to be an issue, because now you find someone having many roles, many jobs.
At once.
They can't perform now.
They've got 8, access cards with different organizations.
And that's an exaggeration.
But it's that issue of moonlighting. It's quite big. And
I was just bringing it to your point to say that it's not enough. People just find other ways, and
that's the issue, and that's why you find now even the restraint of trades are big now. Quite huge, and they're very, very hectic. So I think definitely. Our people really have to know that, hard work pays off. If you really do it. But many a times people are trying, maybe it's because of the economy, but if you want to do your side hustle, declare it. Declare it. And communicate, honestly, guys, I want to do this. Because they always year to year, I think organizations, they send you that declaration.
But even if you do declare it, show up for the hours you are paid for correctly, and then do your side stuff.
Your side hustles,
Because then that's stealing, right?
It's stealing, literally.
We never think.
So I think it's just important, I think, just to wrap up of what we are talking about, to say, in corporate, they really pay you to bring value. And work on that value. You can, from wherever space that you find yourself,
and make sure people see that value,
and make sure that people see that value, and you also bring value to others around you. That's very key, because you are living in an ecosystem that feeds from each other. So I think those are the key things. And when you're at work, give it your best.
Give it your
and be there, be present.
That's so key.
That's one of the things. They want someone who's present, because you can tell if someone is present or they are not. So
it's easy to spot.
So guys, this was short, sweet, and to the T. Thank you so much for coming through. Thank you for being part of this amazing session today. Crew, thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. So guys, we are coming back with more and more. So see you next time from the crew and myself.
Ciao.